I like myself more today than before. Like, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Me First podcast, season 2, episode 8. My name is Marge. This is my friend and cousin, Ria, and today we are talking about
Hello.
something really fun. It's called the Midlife Identity Shift. I lied, that's probably not a fun topic. But before we do that, let's do some intros. We're coming up to International Women's Day. If you're watching this on International Women's Day, happy International Women's Day. And if it's after, happy belated International Women's Day. But let me check in. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, doing good. I love your outfit. Like, is it a heart?
It is. And I got hearts on the arm.
It's so pretty.
Just look at it.
Happy International Women's Day.
Yes. Happy Us Day.
That's
Happy
very
Us
nice.
Day.
Yes.
So wait, how much more, when are you going back to Canada? Are you going to be heading in the summer again, like May, just like you did last year? Or are you waiting until a little bit
Yeah.
further out? Spring?
It's gonna be probably at the same time. So May 20, we're leaving
Okay.
and going back to Canada. Yeah.
So you spend
How are
half the
you?
year in Spain. I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm saying you spend half the year in Spain and half the year in Canada now.
More than half in Spain. Yeah,
Wow.
it's gonna have to be more
Really?
than half in Spain.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, because winter is long in Canada. We just love it here. It's beautiful, it's chill. You can immediately tell that that's what they're saying. In Spain, you buy the lifestyle.
Oh,
Because here they don't care about being rich. They care about having a quality of life. Like we were talking about that at the local hardware store here. So there was a lot of people, and my husband asked the owner, he said, "Wow, so that must be good for the business. You're getting busy." No, the woman said that no, it's not good. It's too much. Like, "Well, but that it must be good for the business. You're earning a lot of money." I don't want to earn a lot of money. I want to have a balanced life. That's what she said, and it's like so profound because in the West, it's all about always about money, about striving, about success, right? And it's the total opposite here.
I love that. I love that. It's definitely, it's being set on values, and your values show that you prioritize your quality of life. I think
Yeah.
that's very important, especially for us, like at this age, which is really kind of timely on the topic that we're talking about. Your identity shift. What are your values now that you're in your midlife,
Yes.
right? So you kind of start thinking about that. So, well, let's talk about it. Where are we right now? Let's start with you. Where are you in your midlife?
lot of There's a lot of positive and negative to it. First of all, what happened with me was in midlife, I moved to another country. So I lost my friends, my family. Not really lost, but I moved to another country and they weren't with me. So it was a big, huge change. And I had to change my career as well. In the part of in Canada where we live, there are more people who speaks French than English. So that was a major change, and that actually didn't help me because perimenopause entered about the same time. So all of this happened all at once, and it was really hard for me. But at the same time, this is also the time I actually discovered my creative side and my entrepreneurial side. Actually, it was it, I actually embraced more that side of my personality. So it was good and bad at the same time. But science actually shows that the midlife brain is more reflective. So this is where we think about ourselves and what we do in our lives more, reflect on the past, what we're doing, and what we want to do in the future. So it actually makes a lot of sense for me. Yeah, so that's how it was for me.
That that totally makes sense. So I'm going to share something with you, but before I do that, right now in this stage in our age, you're taking care of your aging parents. You are guiding your children into adulthood, and you hope that you did a good job. You're managing your career. Everything is, at this point, everything is stable, right, in your career. You're managing a household. Some of us marriage, some of us are probably navigating a new singlehood because a lot of studies show that as we go through this stage, a lot of women actually end up with divorce. Then you're managing finances, logistics, and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And you're essentially the emotional and operational center of everything that's going on everywhere else. And it's kind of sad because the reason how that happened is because you're a woman, right? And so you've effectively kind of
Yeah.
disappeared into responsibility and your hormones are shifting. So you're kind of feeling, which is, this is kind of dovetailing into what you were talking about earlier, where you kind of start thinking because your hormones are shifting and you are feeling that the version of you that kind of held it together for everybody this whole time is not the version that you want to stay. You're kind of starting to become
Mm-hmm.
reflective. And honestly, that's unsettling, not just for you, and it's unsettling for
Yes.
everybody else around you. So I'm going to share something with you. My whole entire life, that was actually me, and that's my role. So I've hit a reflective point, I want to say probably early 40s, early to mid 40s, between 40 and 45, and I'm 51 now. But I've actually hit the point where I've come to a realization that I like myself more today than before, like the 20s me. I mean, obviously it's because I had children at a young age, and then I did leave the Philippines, migrate to another country when I was about 21, and then I kind of started navigating a completely new life. So I completely understand what you're saying when you said, you've had to uproot who you are. You did not lose it because that person is still there and both can exist at the same time. However, you've actually had to go through this complete metamorphosis of you.
Mm-hmm.
You've had to learn to be creative. You had to like dig deep into your entrepreneurial mentality. And but beautiful things came out of it, literally. I've seen your cakes.
Yeah.
But I completely
Thank you.
understand that. And I think all of this kind of gets impacted when our hormones kind of starts to shift. So, we're at the stage where we lose our confidence and we kind of lose our emotional resilience. We're not as calm. Some of us have to go out of the way to be like, I'm feisty, and some of us are proud of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the challenge of having to chronically take care of everybody is starting to kind of impact us as humans. And then we talked about this, you can't sleep, and so your stress tolerance is completely different. You're a lot more fatigued, and your brain is starting to think about what is the meaning of life? Where do I align?
Yes.
Right? Isn't it? And so because we're at the stage where we are both the sandwich generation, we're trying to take care of aging parents and we're trying to kind of usher our children into adulthood. We kind of have to go and figure out,
Mm-hmm.
where do we align in all of this? What is really in my space? Who am I without all of this? And so, I'm
Yeah.
proud to share that I got to a point where I'm like, okay, I actually do love who I am today, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it happened like a light switch, because it didn't. It's not.
Okay.
It's a gradual progression to being able to accept that you're going to be a completely different person. Not to mention, not everybody's going to like it. But at this age,
Mm-hmm.
we're now evaluating who we are. The challenge with this is that when we start thinking about all of these things and we come into like a self-realization and we want to be able to do all these things, we don't necessarily have the bandwidth to be able to do it. So we end up being in a phase where we're evolving, but everyone who was depending on you is still depending on the old version of you as opposed to the one that you're evolving into. Does that make sense? So
Yes, absolutely.
yeah, so it's almost like an incredible challenge that everybody has to face. So thoughts. I feel like I just kind of went blah and blabbered.
No, no, it's amazing, and that's where I want to be. I'm not there yet, but just hearing you say those things, okay, wow, okay, that's something I'm looking forward to, because I'm not there yet, but I wanna be able to. I feel lost still sometimes. Actually, most of the time. Like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Who do I really want to be? What is more important for me? I am still in the process of reflecting on all of those things quite frequently, and I'm still figuring it out. But well, it's really good to hear that because that's where I want to be. That's where I
It's
want to get
valid.
to.
It's valid. So
So how?
transitioning into solutions. I'll share with you a couple of things and tell me
Yes,
which parts
please.
you can really. I'll share with you a couple of things that I felt kind of worked for me. Number one, start thinking about your role. What responsibilities do you have that are truly yours versus what responsibilities did you acquire by default? What responsibilities did you inherit? So for me, those are things that I'm kind of starting to think because number one, culturally, for us, oldest female are responsible for kind of taking care of everybody, right? And as a mom, everybody just went to you and depended on you, right? And in relation to that, once you kind of start realizing what your role is, work on delegating those roles intentionally. And I'm going to tell you myself, this is still something that I'm learning. I have 4 adult children. My youngest is 19 right now. I'm still at the point where I am wondering if he can step up when really, truly, he's an adult and I should be able to delegate that responsibility of him taking care of himself to him, right? But I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not quite there yet, but I'm working on it, right? So children, your own children can step up and take care of themselves. If you have siblings, they can help take care of your parents. The responsibility is not all yours
Yeah.
because just because you're the only, and this is true for a lot of us, just because number one, you're the capable person, you're the one who has time, and you're the one who has money, doesn't mean the responsibility is all
Yeah.
yours. So those are the things that,
Exactly.
right, you kind of start needing to kind of focus on those. And then, you know, the one thing that you can control is pretty much regulating your own nervous system. So do things to support that. You do this all the time. You're really good at this. You love hiking. I know that you've recently done a lot of hiking. You know, exercise, get some sunlight or something like that. But whatever you do, take the ownership and responsibility of stabilizing your own biology before you kind of start figuring out your own identity. And
True.
at the end of the day, reclaiming who you are, or maybe you're not reclaiming, maybe you're still kind of trying to determine who you are. So basically, the identity that you are able to come up with, that you decide this is who I'm going to be, and this is how I'm going to choose to live, is really something that yours alone. It's just yours. It's yours and yours alone. It's nobody else's, right? So start little things. You're doing a great job supporting your mental health right now. You're doing a great job supporting your physical health. And so you're probably at the stage where you kind of start to think about, hey, what is my role? Who am I? And then start going from there. It's going to be a little bit of a
Wow.
challenge at first because I'm going to tell you my own experience. When I got to the point where I decided, okay, maybe I should start taking care of myself. It's not necessarily too late, but I'm going to share with you that it's late because of me not taking care of myself early on in my years. I ended up having hypertension at the age of 35. I can't remember if it was either 35 or 36 where I first got the diagnosis. Age 35 and hypertension is
Wow.
probably not a good thing, right?
Wow.
And you would think
Yeah.
that at that age I would have started prioritizing my health. I really didn't. Because prioritizing myself, like going to the gym and having me time, I felt incredibly guilty about. Because whatever time I spend away from anybody and spending it on myself was selfish because I could be spending it with them. And just a personal reflection, it was even more of a challenge for me because when I went to the gym, my ex-husband was kind of upset about it because, why are you doing that? Why, you could just spend time with us. And
Exactly.
you only have very little time, and why are you spending it with your friends at the gym? So there's a lot of factors. So, boundaries, you need to kind of start enforcing them.
Yeah.
Heck, I'm one of those people who divorced midlife. I think I was divorced by the time I was 40. I want to say, I think I was 43 when I divorced. 43 or
Okay.
44. That's when I filed, and it took about 2 years. But I'm one of those who divorced during my perimenopause time.
True.
Yeah, a lot of these reflecting and a lot of these role shifting is happening now. So I'm not necessarily saying figure out where you want to be, but probably start kind of setting things in place and really also learning to accept the possible impact on other people. Like all these people who are depending on you are depending on the person that they knew they could, I don't want to say take advantage of, but you know what I mean? All these people depending on that because they knew that, they could always depend on you. And start
Yeah.
changing kind of that mindset and start kind of encouraging independence. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit hard,
Yeah.
but
Wow.
yeah. Was that too much information?
No, actually, it's very helpful. It's very helpful. You know what? It's amazing that I have a business partner and sister who is a menopause coach and could also be a life coach. Right? Wow, thank you so much. Thank you
I'm
so
gonna,
much for the insights.
yeah,
This is for me. This episode for me. I'm
it's for
gonna
you.
rewatch it over and over again.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
download the
it
raw
is.
video
It's
and send it to
amazing.
you. But I'm gonna tell you, if there's a promise that I could make once you kind of start figuring out all those things, is that when you hit that point, you will not realize that you're there. And the feeling is profound. There's a different level
Hmm.
of satisfaction and happiness that you hit when you start realizing, hey, this is me now, and I like me this way. And everybody's gonna have to
Oh,
like me as much as I like me. And it's amazing. Yeah.
I can feel it already. I'm so looking forward to that day.
Yes, yes, you're gonna
Wow.
get there. So, number one, you already have the intention and you're giving yourself that permission.
Mm-hmm.
So, at least that's what I can hear from you today. Because I think that's one of the other
Mm-hmm.
things that we fail to do is that we don't give ourselves permission to let go. And we need to give ourselves permission to let go. And that's the beginning of it all. You need to start to give yourself permission
Wow,
to
my
love you.
gosh.
You need to give yourself permission to,
I'm
hey,
having goosebumps.
it's okay to say,
Yeah.
hey, it's gonna break their hearts, but I need to do this for me. You need to give yourself permission to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I promise it'll be
Yeah.
worthwhile. And you know what's funny? It's everybody else is going to understand that eventually anyway. And they'll get to that point and they'll say,
Mm.
well, you know what? I'm happy you're taking care of you. And in a way, you're kind of
Good.
helping them kind of be independent and take care of themselves instead of being dependent
Great.
on you for another 3, 4, 5 years. So
Yeah.
obviously our parents are going to be dependent on us forever culturally. That's fine. Those are
Mm.
kind of your bargains,
Mm.
but there's also some
Mm-mm.
boundaries that you can set in there where you can say, hey,
Yeah.
I'm taking care of you and this is what you need to do. I'm going to tell you, one of the battles that my mom and I have is her diet. She and I argue about her diet all the
Mm-hmm.
time because culturally they think eating vegetables is healthy, and I'm trying to get her to eat protein. And normally
Mm-mm.
the old me would not be able to set the boundary and say, hey, eat your protein. Today, I've actually been able to get to the point where I would say, you wanted to live until you are 90, and you need to understand that eating protein and adding protein to your diet is important, because without it you're not going to make it. I'm now able to
Mm-mm.
have that conversation with her, and as opposed to before, I didn't used to be able to. So a lot of these things you're going to learn as you go. I mean, obviously we're always going to try to want to speak politely. We're always going to want to speak gently and kindly and compassionately,
Mm-hmm.
but you're going to be able to do that and still set firm boundaries. And I promise you, it's so incredibly rewarding. It's so incredibly rewarding. And to
Nice.
me, being able to see the significant improvement in my mom's health was absolutely beneficial.
Happy
Anyways,
for you.
I gave you goosebumps. We can have a lot more
Wow.
talks about
Yes,
this if
yes,
you
you
want.
did. Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing. Thank
So
you.
does that mean me first promise this coming week is not going to be difficult for you? What is your promise?
Delegating.
Yes.
I'm gonna ask my brothers to step up.
Oh wow. That's actually
Hmm.
so I have my brother in the Philippines. I support that. I'm telling you, I support that 1000%. I have one
Hmm.
brother in the Philippines, and we're actually also having this conversation. My parents are in the US, obviously, so he can help me. But
Yeah.
we've initiated conversations about, hey, at some point they're going to want to go back. And the only response I get is this.
Mm-mm. It's true.
That's the response I get. That's the response I get. I actually I support that 1000%.
That's funny.
Or maybe you need to bring your
Yeah.
mom to Canada. Is there any difference?
Yeah.
Actually, is there a financial benefit? Because I know in the Philippines you still have to pay for some of the medical care, even though they have insurance, right? But if you bring her to Canada, is
Yeah.
that any different, or is there any advantage? I didn't really know that
It's gonna
anything
be
about it.
harder.
Got it.
It's gonna be
Okay.
very hard for her because she's not a resident and she's not a citizen. So healthcare in Canada is really hard. Like a lot of people there don't have doctors.
Oh,
And number two, it's expensive. It's very, very expensive if you're not a resident. So, well, she's a lot better off if she stays in the Philippines, just comes to Canada to visit, like for a few months maybe.
got it.
And weather-wise, yeah, she has friends there and the weather is more pleasant
Got
because
it.
in Canada, we know that the winter is too long and too cold. So
It
overall,
is.
I think it's still better for her staying in
Got
the
it.
Philippines.
Okay. Yeah. Then delegate. Delegate away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's see. What is my me first promise? My me first promise is probably to set a few more boundaries. I still have a few more boundaries to set. I still have a few more delegating to set. I told you about my son and my car. I probably should have made him pay
Yeah.
for the car that he broke, but you know, those I'm still gonna be working on it. But that
Mm-mm.
being said, we
Progress.
are at the close of this episode. So, one reminder that I want to give everybody is that we need to lose the midlife crisis mentality. It's not a crisis, you know.
Yeah.
You need to think about it as a recalibration. So, be part of the
Mm-hmm.
Me First movement. Like, follow, and share this video. Subscribe to us at the Awendra on all the socials. We also have Awendra Health, where we give free menopause coaching because we know not everybody can afford it. It's a lot of luxury. And then subscribe to the Me First podcast, where we put ourselves first without guilt. Because if we don't, who will? Everybody have a nice week, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.